Fun, fun. Hey, look, this is my harp, and I found that one of the strings on my harp has broken, so I.
That's so weird. Wow. Okay. Well,
Why?
nothing. So I did some paintings last night.
Oh, sweet.
So this is part of my promotional effort for the Shreveport area. Um, I'd like to start a Legalize It Louisiana Foundation as well, in lieu of the St. Jude children and the elders in the area who refuse to take opioids and opiates.
The benefits far outweigh any side effects, and children who have had epilepsy seizures for years will be administered with CBD oil on the soles of their feet, and they won't have epileptic seizures anymore. I mean,
Right.
that's clear evidence, clear and convincing evidence as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I'm a Reiki master, so it's a part of what I learned, because I felt that it was important as a Reiki master to know medicinal formulas for different illnesses and how to best and effectively help in the healing process, because people are tactile. They like to touch things, see things, taste things, hear things.
Yep.
And when you tell somebody, well, this is universal energy and Reiki is all encompassing and all healing, they look at you and say, are you freaking nuts? I see nothing. And it's unfortunate, but that is really, the state of our society today. And it's important to be able to know those natural healing elements as well, and be able to promote them, and with Reiki healing, to add that you can infuse it like you infuse, do water essences,
Right.
flower essences. I do morning glory flower for people getting off of opiates. It's a all natural remedy for that. And there's like calendula and lots of.
I've started looking into other, because the blueprints that I'm wanting to see happen in the area, you can grow mushrooms too, and of course, not all mushrooms are magical mushrooms.
No, we
but at the same time, they're pretty. What they can do is amazing. The health benefit.
Mushrooms are really good for liver cleansing, kidney cleansing, and
Oxygenation.
there's, where I live, there's a lot of mushrooms at this time of year, and you can go hunting for mushrooms, and even the mushrooms that say they're not medicinal have medicinal properties to them, because all mushrooms are a form of fungi, and fungus is among us and inside of us, and some of them are good and some of them are not so good.
Right.
We have a book called Mushrooms Demystified.
Nice.
We can look up and be sure that the mushrooms that we're finding are the right mushrooms to eat.
Oh, God.
What kind of mushrooms do you got growing over there?
Well, we don't have any mushrooms growing over here except for weird fungus like witch's butter. We used to have a lot of witch's butter growing, but I had, some tree fungus here and there. But the type of mushrooms that I don't have my notes in here with me. I've been taking a lot of notes on different stuff that I've been watching that I'd like to see grow. And it starts with a C. But
what?
With a C, it looks like a caterpillar with a cap on its head. That's basically what it is.
I'm trying to think.
It's almost a parasitic type fungus.
The cauliflower mushroom? No, the cauliflower mushroom is a big mushroom.
Hang on, let me go get my. Hang on, let me get what it is. Hang on. Okay, well, I can't find them right now.
Well, that's okay. Everybody was watching me contemplating on my.
Awesome. Well, here's my other painting that I did last night.
Ooh, nice.
Pretty neat.
It looks like a llama.
No, it's a bird.
Bird.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah, the big beak there. Yeah, okay, right on. Cool. That's great. Have you been painting with the kids?
Not yet. I'm looking for ways to incorporate that because both of these were actually done to hip hop music last night.
Ah,
So that was kind of mommy's time. Like I'm finding even coming off of whatever I was on, I'm still awake most of the time. So I decided, okay, well, what would I have been doing otherwise? And that would be sitting back in my office doing art and listening to rap.
all right.
That's what I did last night.
I have been working on my heart earrings for Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be going to there's a pop-up art on the streets venue that I go to that's an indoor hall. It's the Masons Hall in town, and we have lots of vendors there. And so, since it's Valentine's weekend, I'm going to be doing a lot of heart stuff. And
Awesome.
yeah, it'll be my second time going to this event. And, every time I go to an event, I always talk about like family rights and all kinds of things that I'm involved with, including Reiki, healing, whatever the conversation direction goes. And I just came back on Friday from San Francisco meeting with other members of the Family Rights Party. And so we're getting more together and working together here in California to get this party established. And then we're going to be looking at going nationwide with it. And what I did is I just stood outside of the library we all did. And I had a sign that says, family rights are fundamental rights. Can you read that?
Mm-hmm.
And people were asking about it and stuff. So, and we had brochures that we were passing out. And we got a few members joining in at the event, and just it's a lot of work, though. Let me tell you.
I know. I completely understand. I've been getting a lot of different downloads, but I see where everything can tie in. Like I really, really see where everything can tie in. I have a lot of different people that I'm busy working on tuning in with and possibly networking with as far as different festivals we have here already.
Yeah, that's connecting in those festivals, and that's what I do. I get my art out there, and people come by, and we start talking, and the conversation's it's amazing. Once you start talking, people get interested, and great discussions can occur in changing and formulating some more cohesive relationships and working together. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah,
How many events? When's the
next one is going to be Mudbug Madness. It's going to be, I believe it was May the 24th to the 29th, if I'm not mistaken. I have it written down on my calendar, and the main thing that I want to get happening is I want to get the Hopi Medicine Water Wheels happening down here at the Red.
Okay.
yeah, that's something that I have somewhat spoken with Miss DiGiorgio on.
All right.
Yes, and you know, we have the riverfronts right there. You know, it's 5 minutes driving, 10 minutes driving, and so I'd like to see that be one of the events that we get happening at Mudbug is the medicine water wheels. She's supposed to be sending me a book on how to do that. I think I'm in Facebook jail right now. Yeah. Yeah. Day one on Facebook, and I get kicked out. I get kicked out. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was sharing, you know, I shared your music video with that young man playing, I don't know what that was, but it was a wonderful instrument. And he played such wonderful classical music on it. And so I published that, and then I published the Reiki attunement, right? And I start getting
Awesome.
this on the coalition, because I want people to know that you know, it's good to take time for self-care. Reiki is for everybody to have at their disposal and be able to use in self-healing and self-care. And one member wrote on there, "Why is this here?" Which, you know, okay.
Well, then here's what I'm gonna counteract that with, because my thing is this: like, I'm a musician, and so I have a very wide range selection when it comes to music and easy listening. And this particular guy that was playing the violin, it was playing the weekend, you know, and he's an amazing hip hop artist. And there he was, bam, playing Starboy, the album. And it was just right on time. And so I shared that out, and it's like, my thing is this: when you have hip hop music and you listen to the lyrics in it, a lot of the times that's not going to transmit accurately to transmute it properly. People at this day and age are really unaware of how to transmute anything that may seem foreign or abrasive, and it could actually be very, very beneficial in many, many different ways. And so here he was removing lyrics and just playing the music classically, but with the hip hop flow to it, and it was just absolutely something that I would sit and listen to for days on end.
Right.
So that's my stance on that. Like, I feel that's important, because the way I see these hip hop artists is they're really, really misunderstood in the messages that they're bringing out.
Yeah.
Not everybody understands and grasps the heritage of it, where it actually came from. It's a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
It's a little scary sometimes, okay? But when you really look at where the origin of that came from and why they're saying these things, it gets a little bit deeper. And so I feel if people can not look at the lyrics for a minute and really step into music and start focusing on artists and what's behind all of that, I really feel that that's going to be a huge benefit to the passing of the peace at this point in time.
Well, a lot of people don't want to pass the peace right now. A lot of people are really angry, and you know, the healing attunement that I shared was also met with a little bit of prejudice, in that one member wrote on there, "This is Satanist practices." And I said,
Right.
you know, you don't know anything about Reiki. Why would you make such an assumption? This is a very ancient form of healing that has been passed down for generations upon generations. It goes way, way, way back, way past Jesus. He was when he was a teen, he went to India with the wise men, and that's what they frickin' taught him. I mean, you know, he teaches that in his teachings. He taught that you are capable of this and so much more.
Yeah, and it says that clear as day, written in words over and over and over. But people, and I have personally taken a lot of things out of context and really like, I've been overthinking. I've been overthinking and I've been over analytical, and for the
Welcome
most
to the
part,
world of humans.
yeah, and for the most part, it's been myself that I've been so over analytical of, and um, it's really, I can see where my subconscious, okay, I'm gonna give an example since I believe we were talking about abusers can heal as well. So
Yes.
my daughter, she's my second born, she still wets the bed, okay? And she will not tell me when she does it, and sometimes she just wets her pants and she won't tell anybody, or she'll hide her clothing. And before they came into my custody, when she was about 4 years old, and I believe it's going to start surfacing soon, but at this point in time, she doesn't really remember too much. But I remember watching her father like just beat the dog shit out of her for peeing in her pants.
That's
Okay.
horrible.
And it's terrible. And so here she is from 4 years old to now 7 years old, and she's still wet in the bed. Their whole bedroom smells like urine right now. I just bought, well, my aunt donated their beds for the first time. They had separate beds in a separate room in a home, and her bed's ruined at this point in time. And it really didn't hit me until, no pun intended, she was saying something. She's been a little smart aleck, and I was just playing with her, and I just kind of popped her on her arm a couple of times playing with her, and it brought tears to her eyes. And yeah, and when that happened, I had to send her brother away for a minute, and I had to sit there with her, and I had to say, okay, now, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just playing with you, like, and I had to break that down. And then that really broke down for me a lot of the resentment subconsciously I'm still holding from the entire abusive situation that I've survived from.
Right.
And I'm pissed. I'm very, very upset about that, because it's like I told Addie, I said, it's not that I'm upset that you're peeing in the bed. It's upsetting me you're not telling me about it, because then I can't say, okay, well, come on, let's go get your clothes in the washer. Let's get you some fresh underwear on. Let's get you in let's do what we need to do so your freaking room doesn't smell like pee.
And let's find out what this is really about and work on that.
Well, I have this Heal Your Body book right here. I know you remember me pulling this out before. And from what I'm getting is it's fear of a parent, usually the father is what it says in the book.
Wow.
And yeah, and I really, let's see, where is it? It's in the lumbar spine. And really the whole entire lumbar spine can contribute to anger, not being able to accept pleasure, loss of power, old anger, being out of balance. That's the entire lower part of the spine. And it even goes into bedwetting, and bedwetting is where it talks about, fear of a parent. And for a long time, that really started kind of mirroring, I guess. Like, I had guilt for that for some reason, even though the other day I really realized that wasn't me beating her ass when she was peeing her pants at 4 years old. That's not that. You see what I'm saying? So it started this whole subconscious crap.
Yeah. And the thing that people want to pretend to believe is that the bystander is capable of stopping the action of the abuser.
Right.
And when we talk about healing the abuser, we're not just talking about healing the abuser and saying it's acceptable for that person.
Forgiveness within yourself.
But it's also, well, it's more than that. It's that the abuser also recognizes that that was a terrible thing to have done, not only to the child, but to the adult bystander who was unable to take any action to stop it. The one that
Well,
was traumatized in the.
I could have taken action to stop it. And I chose not to because I don't want to see anybody hurt more than I had been hurt as a child, let alone what was happening with my kid. And I could have made it stop myself. And I chose not to because then guess what? The kids would have neither one of their parents.
Right. And that's another thing. It shouldn't be like that. The parents should not be in danger of losing,
Either one of them.
Either one of them should be. There's just so much that has to be considered. It's like last night I had a conversation with Paul to the Family Rights Party because we were talking about what resolutions we're going to enact that will help, families and stuff. And there's there are some amendments coming into existence across the country for different state policies as well as federal policies regarding family rights and parents' rights.
Yeah.
And
Louisiana has none.
right. But, there's one on the federal level that's being pushed by parental rights.org, right? And I read it and I don't agree with everything that's in that, but what I think is it's kind of like the medical marijuana thing here in California. It wasn't what the medical marijuana patients wanted, but it was a start.
Right.
And as a family rights party, as an entity, we can actually offer amendments to the agenda. Right now, we're at this precipice where we actually have senators that are looking at this amendment to the federal Constitution for parents' rights. And
right.
So, it would behoove us to at the very least start looking into this stuff. We aren't all going to agree. That's never going to happen.
Well, as long as you have individuals, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be a contrast of interest at some point in time.
Well, there's going to be, if everybody wants to be going, okay, and then there goes another random thought. No, it's not that random, actually, honestly. Because I've been considering this, we find ourselves, and we talked about this last time, and I didn't want that one to be published because I don't think we were really ready at that point to have anything published, and there was too much that was going to have to be edited out for it to be
right.
And I already have 2 videos that I need to edit today, and I haven't gotten to yet. So.
I don't know how to edit videos, or I'd be willing to help you in that venture, but my technical skills are not yet up to par. They're getting better. They're not quite there yet.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. The thing is that it's through YouTube that I edit my videos, so I have to put it on the YouTube channel and then work from there because they have a simple editing. The other way to do it is a little more complicated and it requires more RAM than I have on the computer.
Right.
So don't worry about that. And the thing is that as far as we're talking about more than just the family rights. And so, I want us to be able to expand the conversation past that. This is a part of that Save Humanity group that I put together. #Save Humanity.
Spell it.
OP.
Okay.
Hashtag OP, Save Humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was something that I used from Anonymous, as, I mean, because it should be a hashtag that actually gets some real wide pull. And, we are talking about the different aspects of saving humanity and what are they. And that's kind of what our conversations should be about, I think, here.
Well,
Partly.
here's my here's I here's my suggestion as far as the platform I'd like to see happen here locally, and just the beginning foundational level of that. Get it up and running here, sustainable, and take it from there. And I really like sushi, and I was thinking about that because I ate I was eating some sushi the other night, and it came with a seaweed salad that I ordered, and it was freaking incredible. It made me feel really good while I was eating it. And so I really started doing some investigating into how to create a sustainable habitat that creates both fish and greens. And I found it.
Good, wonderful.
So there's actually two different systems that could be used. Both of them do well depending on what variables you're trying to grow, and really both of them are sustainable. One of them uses less water, but we get that medicine water wheel happening here, and I predict that the water is going to start to clean up a little bit in the area.
I hope so. It needs to clean up a lot of places. I mean, the water is, we're losing a lot of our water. You remember the news about the oil spill that just happened in China?
No, I don't watch the news.
They said it was an accident. I didn't watch it. It was on NPR. They said it was an accidental collision in the ocean, and it was over 2,000 acres of ocean that's covered with this oil spill that they're still trying to clean up.
When did that happen?
It happened last week.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So, I mean, wow.
Well,
it's
then we need to start getting, this is something that we're going to need to invest in. We're going to need to invest in little soil testing kits, as well as water testing kits. I believe this is going to be something that's going to be, especially for this area, we're going to need some testing kits. We've got a lot of clay dirt here, and of course, I'm just speaking in a very generalized area. I'm just talking about North Louisiana, Northwest Louisiana right now. We've still got the potential with the blueprints that I got downloaded to really solve the economic crisis here in the state, as well as reduce crime rates. Massively reduce the crime rate.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's what I've observed. That's what I've been able to observe with myself. And the first thing is going to be just getting it happening, getting a sustainable habitat that grows both fish and plants. Sustain.
So that's that aquaculture example. And aquaculture is really a great example, especially for flatland areas. It's a lot, I mean, I live in the mountains, so it's a little bit more complicated in the mountains, but aquaculture is supposed to be the new thing, and it helps in so many ways. And I really hope that you can get that, something like that going there. Right now I'm looking at my area is distressed. It's very distressed because of the fires that occurred this year and are still happening.
Right.
There are many, many, many people that are without homes right now in this state and our neighboring state. And so housing is becoming a a scarcity already here. So anywhere that we can find housing that's in distress, that is what Dale was saying, fee simple.
That would be here. There's distressed adjudicated urban property across the state,
Right. Okay.
especially in the area. It's everywhere. Okay,
Uh-huh.
it's everywhere here, and I feel that a lot of the properties could be made sustainable if there was better insulation. Um, it's going to take some effort, it's going to take some work, but I see that creating revenue as well, and jobs, and possible immigrant adoptions happening in this area as well. It's going out on a limb, Lyra. It really is.
Yes. Yes, it is, because that area also, I mean, are there parts of it that are above the flood zones? You know, where
Yeah,
you're at
there
is
are.
pretty
There are.
scary.
Well, it actually it snowed today. I don't know if you can see out my window.
Yeah, you were saying it was cold and snowy there, but I can't
It
see it. Not really. All I see is
Yeah,
rain.
it snowed, and it hasn't snowed since 2016. I believe my birthday month, like April 2016, it snowed here, and the river flooded also.
Mm.
And that really gave me some insight into some problem areas, because riverfront, it
Yeah.
was flooded.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But to where my aunt's property sits from the riverfront, because this is some of the property that I'm wanting to look into, Lyra, we have some historical site that has not yet been dubbed historical on top of all of the other historical sites.
Uh,
And this particular site is actually near family property, and it's out of the flood zone, and it could actually be formed into a full-on aquaponic, aqua enclosure school with other possibilities of classes and meditation classes, weekend possible adult classes of some kind. And there could be a whole new system integrated into this one particular property that I have here that I'm starting to look into
all
and trying
right.
to see what's going
That's
on. I
good.
believe the city owns it. And so I'm still going out on a limb here. It's a big project, but I honestly believe that if it's implicated properly within this area, I'm going to have a lot of backing on it. A
Yeah.
lot of backing on it.
Good. That's what we're looking for, and we're looking in all areas. I'm looking here in California because I know that there are properties that are going to be going up for auction soon. I mean, you can't, and they're going to take a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
But they're totally distressed because they were just burned. Not everybody's going to be wanting to or be able to afford to rebuild. And that's an unfortunate thing, and we can help. We got to still working on forming that plan. It's quite a process. I think that we got to take it slowly. I mean, when I went for this family rights party meeting convention, I thought we were going to have quite a few people show up, and we didn't. We had done it, we had scheduled it 2 weeks prior. We didn't give any real notice or warning to people. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. But the idea is to solidify those relationships that we do have, because we can build on those. Even if there are only a few people that are committed to meeting for your project or for anybody's project, that you meet in person, if you can at all be there in person, that is. And otherwise, having these platforms like this Zoom room is just an excellent way to at least start planning towards a meeting of minds.
Hmm. I agree with that. My particular goal at this point, I stopped, haven't had any nicotine in over 24 hours now,
All right,
including the vape.
good.
Yeah, it was making me feel really shitty.
Well, if you look at the science of it, the vapes are worse, way worse, way worse. Give you
I don't even want to think about it.
popcorn lung is what it's called.
I don't even want to think about it because it does way more than that.
Yeah, I know it does.
I figure if I can survive through this, it's gonna be okay.
That's right.
It's gonna be okay. Anything is possible.
You can survive through it. So
Ooh,
how about that?
that's a rough one right there, Mira.
I know.
Shut
I've
up.
tried to get them to stop smoking on multiple occasions, and they've tried hypnotherapy and Chantix and Nicorette gum and all that stuff.
Oh, I want all of that.
But it's all the same stuff. It's all nicotine. It doesn't matter what form it's in. It's still nicotine.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve the problem at all.
No, it doesn't.
So.
It's rough, but I look around and I'm like, I'm just not. This is well into week 2 now of the month, and I'm like on a roll. I'm so proud of me. I'm so proud of you too for like hanging in there.
Well, thanks. We got to keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot of work for sure. And right now I'm trying to get things organized so that this year I actually have some work that sells and people are looking at what I've done and
All we gotta do, I believe, this is what I see. I see a little bit of time because okay. I have grounded myself from like furthering activities in this until at least my birthday. That's in April. And that is going to give me like a 90-day personal probationary time period for me to discipline myself in what I need to do. And at this particular rate that I'm going, I know and I can see the bigger picture of what's going to occur with this.
yep.
And it is not negative. It's not. It could have been. I saw that too. This is just me personally now. I'm expressing what I've observed within myself and how my outer world is connecting with that. And from what I'm looking at in the bigger picture, in the grand scheme of things, what you've already done so much of the grunt work that needed to be done. And I've said that before, and it makes so much sense why that had to happen first. Because that's not my position. I do not have the mental focus to sit down and I do. It would be fucking, excuse my language, it'd be 20 years from now.
Oh, come on.
It would. So after this, now this foundation's been built, okay, now I'm working to get Francine DeGiorgio and that community further integrated into this because we have Indian American heritage.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We gotta bring her into this.
That's
gonna send her
a quarter of the battle right there.
Yeah. I was gonna send her the invite for today, but next time.
Next time. It's coming. It's coming.
Misty too. Misty was on the meeting on Saturday, the parent advocate meeting that we had. She was there. And so, I know that we're all kind of dealing with different parts of the grand scheme of things, but we're getting closer to each other.
Yeah.
let's, to make this happen, because it takes all of us working together. And, I understand those people out there who have a pessimistic view and don't think that things can happen when we work together. But and in fact, there's this one woman who's saying there is no such thing as united we stand. And I think well, I prefer to be an optimist here, and I think that we just as a people need to understand that, yeah, we have our differences, but there's so much more that we have in common than we have in differences. And it's those commonalities that will bring us back to humanity, back to ourselves and back to community building and back to relationship building. And otherwise,
Well,
it's like a
it,
very serious trouble situation.
well, there, like you said, not everybody's going to agree with everything, and that is why it's so important that we build council. We build that council, and that way we can, because I see a rotation of things happening and occurring. That way there's more than one individual accountable for each section as it comes.
Yeah.
And there's kind of like a deal breaker, standoffish type, okay, so I see council coming in on this, and this has been, and I don't do politics, but this has been one of the biggest areas of concern that I've seen within the Republicans and the Democrats, is they're so fucking, they're so hell-bent on, on, I'm working on that. They're so hell-bent on having things set in stone and in this foundation of, well, I'm right, okay, and that is not any form of foundation for collaborative effort.
No, none at all.
There's no room for creativity. There's no room for a community to thrive on that.
No,
because then it's like martial law.
And we don't want that. That's what we're trying to avoid here. And I understand people's, it's not just a political thing, it's also a personal thing here for a lot of people, because in the Family Rights Party, we want to be able to support everybody, whether they are the victim or the abuser. We want to be able to enable them to heal themselves and learn to take care of their legal issues as well as their social issues. And then we do this as a community, and there will be places for people who are not wanting to be peaceful, and we work with them. We work with them and help give them the tools to understand and better communicate, because a lot of what we're dealing with today has absolutely nothing to do with person. It has to do with fight or flight. This is something I've been talking about a lot. The aggression, it's an automatic response. It's something that has persisted throughout generations. It's a part of the fight or flight. It doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it most of the time. When people lash out in physical anger and frustration, it is because they are, trying to preserve their identity.
I believe Eckhart Tolle wrote on the pain body. I haven't read the book, but a woman on Facebook, Nicole Brett Feller Oman, did a special whenever the rioting was going on in Carolina. When it's South Carolina, the Carolinas.
Yeah.
So she, whenever that was happening, she came on and she gave a demonstration of pain bodies and the astral orbs around people's bodies, where it's like, hey, I'm right, I'm hurt, my ancestors, and then you film it and you shoot it out to other people, and it automatically it's association causes assimilation.
Uh-huh.
It just activates. Bam! Oh, that hit somewhere. I don't know where it hit, but it hit somewhere. Oh, I'm mad, you know? And
It's a trigger, yeah.
Back in a hornet nest.
Yeah, it's a trigger.
So it literally just shoots off across all these other individuals and their pain bodies, and I don't feel that there is enough energetic healing. Okay, and the Reiki attunement that you did was very good. Very good. It helped me personally very much.
And I'm happy to talk about that, and you know, we can talk. I have plenty of information I'd love to share with people. I mean, Reiki is helped me bound, so thank you.
You're welcome. And my feel on that is that's there's so many different energetic levels and dimensions occurring at one time.
Yeah.
And so those who do not have, whether they know it or not, have a grounded faith and belief in spiritual system, that's the Reiki is like a leadway into meditation and prayer.
Yes.
Okay? And so it can be approached from any religious stance that an individual is going to feel comfortable having that approach on. Yeah. And then I see a lot of people becoming very adept as far as energetic projections and how the quantum leaps occur. And that's so you have to have education on that, or else people are going to just crap their pants and either tuck into a ball, or they're going to get up and they're going to move.
And we talk about, we can talk about this. I talked with Misty about this as well. When we do Reiki healing on ourselves, hands-on healing, or on other people, the thoughts that we are thinking have to do with health, wellness, healing, love, compassion, consideration. And as far as in self-meditation, a lot of what I started with in meditation was feeding my brain those positive affirmations. And we got to do our affirmations for the day. Affirmations. I mean, this is a healing exercise in itself, to have an affirmation, to use it in your day. And today, our affirmation is strong. Well, you're a very strong woman there, Mim, and you keep on holding on to that strength and power, and we'll keep moving forward. And I hope you continue being strong and not smoking and not using the e-cigarette. Your health depends on it.
Yeah,
and you're a strong woman. You are.
Thank you. It's difficult. I think this plays off of affirmations. It is different. So you have an affirmation and then you have some self-evaluation. Okay. So it is difficult for me to accept others' opinions on me being a strong individual, because sometimes I do not feel like a strong individual.
Right. And that's okay. You don't have to feel strong. This is a part of the quantum physics of self-talk. You do not have to feel strong or feel happy or feel healthy in order to tell your body to do that that's who you are. Because on a quantum level, we could go down to the strings and the O-rings and everything, right? And everything. But what you see is that at our core is energy. What is keeping those protons together? You know, what is keeping those
vibration
and energy vibration. So when we say to ourselves, well, I am strong, even if you don't feel
it's still going to resonate all throughout everywhere.
Because you just said, and using it in a verbal way, like saying it out loud, helps to instill that information, because the word is a vibration. Every word is a vibration. Every tone is a vibration. When I do the Reiki attunement, you saw I had tones that I was chanting with the symbols, using the symbols to direct the energy of Reiki.
Well, I was watching specials on harmonic healing the other day, and this just the harmonics of different chambers within the body can be attuned with different tones. And this is what I'm learning in my quest for sound healing and sound therapy. And so something that I have realized that I've had a really hard time doing, which of course, because I've been vaping like crazy, but being able to breathe and really being able to fill everything up and feel it in there, being completely detached from self is something that I have struggled with my entire life. And there's been a lot of positive that's come from that. But at the same time, I've had this is just my personal journey. I have personally had a difficult time being able to feel my body.
Yeah.
Whether I have been on substance or aside from substance, this has been one of my personal reasons for doing substance, to be honest with you, because I couldn't feel.
Mm-hmm. That's the way a lot of people start using substances, is they want to feel something, anything. And I don't think it's that you're a bad person for using substances. It has nothing to do with that at all. And I think that's another part of the narrative that we want to change.
People need to see that just because somebody may have been statistically labeled something does not mean that is their stigma, and that is the actual scenario, and that's the actual prerogative of that individual.
And it's not good to stereotype anybody. So yes,
absolutely not. And that's just my experience, and that's part of my story there that I've had to kind of look back on, because when I originally at 15 years old decided to start getting heavily involved in drug usage, 15, okay, I assumed until I really started doing some subconscious unlocking that it was because I didn't want to feel. However, that was not my reasoning for it. I didn't feel. I had no feeling. And I did, but it was completely disassociated from myself. Whenever, even in my dreams, I would always be completely disassociated from myself. I would see myself as opposed to looking through my eyes. And that is something that has really stunted my growth as far as visualization is concerned.
Yeah.
Because if I'm sitting there and I'm disassociated, even in a dream now, which is the subconscious level, okay, and I know where this stems from, I will not get into that at this point in time.
That's all right.
Being disassociated from self, that means, okay, you're looking at a picture, you're looking at yourself, then you're not seeing it through your lenses, you're actually looking at yourself. And so on a subconscious level, when an individual is visualizing themselves, it's selfishness at the bliss of ignorance, if that makes any kind of sense. And it's serious, because that's something that I've been unaware of, honestly, within myself up until like the past year, especially when I've really started to, regardless of what my external circumstances may have appeared to be, it's all within a reason of being. And so I had it's such a paradox, because I went from being jaded to feeling, to making it a priority in my life that I become jaded and not be able to feel, to all of a sudden having this breakdown the other night going, why are they giving individuals with a specific axis of diagnosis medication when their specific axis is not even treatable through medication?
Oh, because it makes money. It's all about the money. It's a horrible situation that we exist in today, and it's going to take a lot. It's quite the challenge that we have taken on. Quite the challenge, ma'am. And, you know, I think that on the one hand, it makes sense for people to stop buying from markets, from like mass producing markets and stuff, but I don't feel that abstaining from buying goods that are locally produced is going to help anybody.
No, it's not.
We need to be able to support each other without supporting that which is destroying us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a maze to figure out which of those is actually, you know, applicable at any purchase.
Well, that is where I believe that given the right circumstance, an individual can thrive. And so I feel that if specific individuals who are actually interested in taking on a project, such as being able to completely sustain a household, yep, without spending a whole lot of, I mean, I'm looking at these systems. You can build a aquaponic system for $75. You can build off of the format of Milwaukee, which has been doing aquaponics for 15 years now, and you can take their structure, you can build one for $3,000, and it creates this revenue stream, and it creates jobs, it gives volunteers something to do, and it builds community. Now, you know, we could get into the quantum physics of that. We could, but I will abstain from getting into the physics behind that, karmatically speaking, because there's a lot of that individuals are just completely inept in their understanding of, yeah, period.
Well, hopefully, you know, statistics like about the disappearance of children in 2017. In 2017, well, in 2016, it was 465,676 children were recorded to the National Commission on Missing Children and Missing and Exploited Children. I can share that. It goes on, and here, let me share this.
What are the age range? What's the main statistical? Yeah.
So
the main age range for those who are missing.
From 2 to 18.
And that's been since, you say, 2016?
This is for 2016. It was 465,676. And the other part of this statistic I wanted to bring up, though, is, where is it? The cyber tip line received 8.2 million reports, of which related parent sexual abuse, online enticement, or sextortion, child sex trafficking, and child sexual molestation. And then it goes on to say, where is it? There's this other part of the information.
There's so many. There's so many factors that can play into all of that, though, Lyra. There's so many different.
But listen to this fact. This is a fact from the reported 25,000 runaways reported to this coalition, this commission. 1 in 7 were likely victims of child sex trafficking. Of those, 88% were in the care of social services when they went missing. And that's FBI statistics that have been reported, you know. We don't know what the unreported cases are. We don't know about the ones where the guys in suits come and just take teenagers and
Well, from what I've heard, it's not good.
no, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And our own government is in collusion, and people don't want to look at or even consider that these are violations that we can prosecute.
I think part of the okay, so we're talking about the illiteracy rate
Yes.
within the states of
Yes.
the United States. So therefore, if you are telling me if the statistics are showing that there is you said a 60 percentile in statistics for illiteracy in the United States. See, this is why that needs to be broken down now into what groups are showing more illiteracy than others, or what groups are showing as more literate than others, because I can see where someone who is not a smart person, you know, wherever, whatever field they may be in, because you can play the field either way, like completely just illegal, just shit, excuse my language, but that's what it is, or the supposed legal shit. And so I feel, and I hate to say this in favor of FBI or the CIA or whomever is deciding to do any form of operation on that, but I could see, this is going to raise a lot of hell, I could see where they may think that would be a good idea in order to find out what they're looking for, which could tie back into quantum physics. What the heck are you actually looking for? Why does there continuously need to be a search for an answer when the answer is, okay, let's create some more jobs. Let's
put home ec back in school.
Into a form of revenue, sustainable, what that specific economy is calling for. And it's taboo, Lyra, but it will create a lot of processes, whether it be a parasitic type relationship or it be a symbiotic type relationship as far as sustainable human lives are considered.
Oh my, yes, we could go on about that one, and the for-profit jail system and how that's playing into this.
So much deeper than that.
I know.
So much deeper than that. Let me break it down to you organically, okay? So if you're looking at if you're looking at it, which I'm looking at right now, if you're looking at a sustainable biodome, I made a biodome for a betta, a Siamese fighting fish, back in school. His name was Earl. And I got to build it to where it was a sustainable environment that existed of parasitic and symbiotic and aquatic and oxygenated relationships within this biodome for a fish. And we didn't have to feed this fish for almost a year. It was sustainable. And my mother decided to open it up and start feeding him, but he didn't need to. He had everything he had in there to sustain himself. Now, when you break it down to the organisms that are going to be growing in dirt, they're a little more I haven't quite gotten that far, okay, but they compost, basically. They compost, and this is what I'm seeing with synergy is you can have different attractions, and that's why it's so important for those of us to get into a more sustainable stance in our subconscious minds. That way, those of us who are working for the greater good are going to be more likely in probability in mathematics to form a hive, as opposed to a bunch of freaking fleas jumping around on a cat, or a bunch of mites on a bird's butt. Okay, so you know, you can see different forms of relationships that are happening organically, all the way down to the economic stance and state of the nations,
Right.
all the way down to composting dirt.
Yeah.
It's a potato is a potato. It doesn't matter what freaking color the potato is. It's all grown in dirt.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is. And just like you see some leaves turning yellow on a plant, okay, you can clip those leaves off, but if there is a parasitic happening on that plant, the leaves are going to keep turning yellow. The plant is eventually going to die.
Or if it's not given the right nutrients, so the same thing will happen as well. And
but it has a better chance of survival that way.
Well, sometimes. If you put salt water on a plant, it's going to die pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so we want synergy here. We want to be able to bring people in supportive, synergistic biodome creation.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have our own little pieces to add to it, and everybody's opinion counts, and it's that organic symbiosis that we hope to create by bringing this information up for other light workers to digest along with us. And I think that's great, because I mean, even in a swamp, what grows out of a swamp? A beautiful lotus flower.
Yeah, water hyacinths.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're invasive, but they're pretty. They're real pretty.
And there's, the cattails are pretty too.
Yeah, cattails are awesome.
And we got
man, okay, so cypress trees.
Yeah.
Don't have enough cypress trees. It's completely illegal to cut down cypress knees now.
Yeah, we're losing them on the coast too. We've been looking at how the old ones are dying and they're not being replaced by new sprouts nearly as often anymore.
Well, the good news is, as far as sustainable habitats, is getting the message out there, getting feedback for the message, giving it a time to rest and then a time to possibly grow, and it can be sustainable anywhere you put it.
That's right. And I got to get going to work. I'm glad we had this time to talk and share, and let's keep on opening the doors, spreading the information, the light, the love. There's more to this life than just the war and the separation that is being imposed upon us. There is so much more that we can accomplish when we work together. United, we stand strong. And there are people who will not agree, but we can agree not to agree and still work on the things that we agree on. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a key factor in this whole transition period. And I'm glad we could sit and talk about this and share a lot of the work that we're doing here. Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, you too.
And I hope you have a good afternoon.
I will.
Right on.
All right. Love you, Lyra.
Love you too. Have a good day. Bye.
Namaste. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.